Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday, or whatever day it is you happen to be watching this. I'm Naya, and this is Naya's 2 cents. So, if you happen to watch my last video, I hinted a little bit into some savings goals I have for the year. And like I said, I was going to come back and share a little bit more with you guys. And since Sunday is the kind of like the start of the week for me, I figured no better day than today to get into some of these goals. So if you're interested, let's go. Okay, so the last time I tried to record with my laptop, the audio was no bueno, and I quit YouTube, even though I had that started. So let's hope that this sounds okay for you guys and this goes well. All right, so like I said, these are my 2025 financial goals, and the theme for me for this year is grace, consistency, and sacrifice. I need to be consistent, and I know that's going to mean me having to give up some things to reach some of these goals. But at the same time, I want to be able to give myself grace and not kind of run myself to it down, run myself into the ground, like trying to reach the finish line, if that makes sense. So that's where that came from. Then I made the presentation on Canva, and they had this in here, and I think this was really, really good because even at the beginning of this year, I had some very lofty goals that I've already kind of changed and scaled back because when I was creating the goals at the end of December, they sounded good. They sounded like they made sense, but when I actually sat down, I was, the math was not mathing. Basically, the math was not mathing. And I was like, why am I going to set these impossible metrics for myself and end up disappointed because I can't achieve them? So I really think this is good. And like I said, personal finance is personal, but being specific with your goals, making sure they're measurable, they're achievable within the timeline you set for me this calendar year, and that most importantly, that they align with my values, my beliefs. I always tell people when I talk to them that you have to have a why. You have to know your why, and your why has to be motivating enough to push you to whatever it is you're working with. Otherwise, it's easy to make excuses. It's easy to give up if it's something that's not really important to you or you don't care about. So I thought this was really good to leave these in there. So when you're making goals, making sure they're things that you can measure, they're achievable, and they matter to you. All right. So without further ado, these are my main financial goals for the year. So the first goal, I was supposed to do this last year, but I never put a timeline on it or an amount. And again, that's why it's important to be a little bit specific and set realistic goals for yourself. Because I was like, oh, I'll open one. But, that didn't happen because I got caught up in, oh, where should I open it at? All these irrelevant things that didn't really matter and caused it to go without being done. So, first goal, and these are not in any particular order, but I guess they're lowest to highest. But anyway, my first goal is to open and invest $600 in my Roth IRA this year. So that would be only $50 a month to start. And for me right now, I think that is realistic for, in conjunction with some of these other goals that I want to do. They're a little bit more important. And because I'm investing in other areas of my life, I felt like $50 in the Roth IRA was enough for this year just to get started. So that's my first goal. So today is the 19th, and I have it on my calendar to open it by January 31st and invest my first $50. So stay tuned and see if that happens, which it should. All right, my next goal is to have $1,000 in my core savings. I use Allie's buckets for as my high yield savings account, and I would like this number to be higher in the future, but for right now, based on past emergencies that have cut up, that has been, I feel like that's a safe enough amount that even if an emergency happened, it would not deplete it fully, and it would give me a cushion to pull from if things happened. So that's where that number comes from. And that would be about $70, $80 a month. I already have like money in there now. So it's like $70, $80 a month. And for all of these, I set targets up in YNAB, which I showed you guys last time. And so that is another kind of visual reminder that I need this amount by this month. And a cool thing about YNAB is, say for whatever month you cannot put money towards a certain target, the next month it'll automatically adjust the amount. So you still reach your goal by your designated time. You just might have to put a little bit more money into the bucket. So that's another thing I really like about YNAB. Definitely check them out. And then my third goal is to save 1 month of expenses. Really, it's not 1 month of expenses because, this changes a lot over time for me. So I really set it up for 1 month of income, actually. So I might change my mind about that later on, but that felt easier for me to track and adjust over time. And in the event that I lost my job for whatever reason, I would have a little bit of extra cushion above my monthly expenses because they don't equal exactly my income, thankfully, until I find the next thing. So that's the goal, to save 1 month of expenses slash income. And then the last main goal, like I spoke a little bit about in the beginning, is to prioritize rest, find a balance in the saving and the debt payoff so that I avoid burnout. Obviously, like I said last time, I have a full time job and I also work part time, and I work a lot of hours a week, but I don't want work to become my whole life, and I don't want work to be the only thing that I have going on. And so it's really important for me to, make sure I'm taking time to rest, but also have something to look forward to that's fun, that's not work related, um, to schedule breaks. Unfortunately, I have to schedule breaks because I can get a little bit wrapped up in work, but all of that serves to help me find a balance and make sure that above all, I'm taking care of myself. Because if I end up working myself to the ground or burning out, I'm not going to be able to accomplish anything. And I might even, end up in a worse position than when I started. And I don't want that to happen. So, above all else, I really want to make sure that rest finds me, balance finds me this year, and that is a priority. All right. And I know all of these goals are financial, but I just did want to point out that I do have goals that are not money goals this year. I have goals about career, about reading, meeting new people, experiencing, more new places this year. And I saw somebody do this on Instagram, and I decided to do it because gamifying things for me really works. I like to check stuff off, but also have a reward at the end. And so I made this also on Canva, and I wrote out little um, treats or rewards to give myself depending on how many bingos I get. And then if I get a blackout, I I told myself I could take like a long weekend staycation situation. So that would be a good incentive for me to do all of this. But even if I don't, I have like little markers along the way to treat myself with that I'm really looking forward to. And so I've already done one of these. It's just not marked off here, but hopefully I can, hit most of these things in 2025. And so I'll update you guys as I go along and check stuff off. Um, and hopefully I do more fun things than not fun things this year. And, 2025 bingo will help me do that. Right. And I do have a hidden secret miracle or stretch goal, as I call it. And that is in 2025 to pay off all my consumer debt, asterisk, except my car and my student loans. And so everything else except those two things. Because, again, I'm not a patient person. I think I've said that. But ultimately, I want to work to live, not live to work. And so I want more of my money to be able to do the things I wanted to do versus having to go to bills or debt or whatever disproportionately. And so this goal would allow me to give more, to save more, just to ultimately have more of that balance that I'm craving without having so much self pressure I put on myself to work a certain amount or do, certain things. And so this is a goal that it would take a lot to accomplish. It is actually doable. I did the math. But again, that grace, consistency, and sacrifice, all those things would have to work in conjunction for this to actually happen and for me to come out on the end of it, because I would have to pay a total of 13,500, can't read, $13,506.65. And this was at the beginning of the year. So I've already paid a little bit over $600 towards this already. And we're a little over halfway through January. And so I'm slowly making progress. But again, I have those other big savings goals that I also want to do. And I still want to make time for fun. And while, like I said, I did the math, I can do this. I don't want to kill myself trying to do it, burn myself out trying to hit this number. But like I said, I do think it's doable. I do think I have a lot of avenues to make this happen and still have fun for myself this year. So I am looking forward to 2025 and all it has to bring. And, we'll see what happens. And I hopefully will take you guys on this journey with me. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, leave some prayer hands or a heart in the comment, guys. I need the motivation. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.